After years of working side by side, LeAnn's relationship with her father, Wilbur, had deteriorated to the point that she was unwilling to continue. Frustrated with the way he and partner Lyle Walker were handling her career and her money, LeAnn continued to distance herself from the management team. With help from her mother, 17-year-old LeAnn took control of the situation the only way she knew how.
I wanted to know what was happening with my money, so I hired some lawyers and investigators to go into figuring that out.
She didn't like the money that her father was making off of her career. She didn't see that money going into her own bank account, so she took matters into her own hands.
From my perspective, I always felt Lyle Walker and Wilbur Rhymes were doing a very good job. But from LeAnn's perspective, she wanted to build her own team.
People changed. New people came in the picture, and she needed to get her company and restructure it, and she needed to get her own company in her own name.
The ensuing power struggle between LeAnn and her father played out in a very public forum when she and her mother filed suit against Wilbur and partner Lyle Walker in May of 2000. Allegations of financial mismanagement were at the heart of the lawsuit, a convoluted case considering LeAnn was still a minor.
For child stars, you have to have a parent involved. You have to have a parent involved, whether they're the day-to-day manager or the manager, whether they make every decision or just the important ones for the kid.
But then there came a time where LeAnn wanted, had a new boyfriend and wanted different management, and wanted the managers to take less. And it's a funny thing when you're out performing and getting $100, if you take 20%, that's $20. But when LeAnn was making $20 million, 20% was a lot more.
Money changes people. I think, who knows if we were all on power trips at the time, in different ways. But money changes people. Money puts a division in between family, obviously. And I think I just wanted my dad that coached my softball team back. I didn't want him to be my manager anymore. And so I think that was the only way to do it. That was the only way I knew how at the time, was just to fight it.
As the family fighting intensified, Wilbur Rhymes countersued, and the media scrutiny was amplified by several decibels. The name-calling and mudslinging within the Rhymes camp essentially became public domain.
Anytime there's a major change like this, in the entertainment world, it's hard because artists everything's so public.
To be a teenager and to be at war with your family like that and have the press taking sides. So many people were taking sides. People were calling into radio stations. Whose side are you on, Wilbur's or LeAnn's?
Well, I remember a lot of talk around town at the time that, we didn't see any drama with this child star and now the drama's here. Well, I think a lot of the drama was personal drama. I don't think the town and the industry, and certainly the fans, I don't think they had any sense of how painful all that was.
A lot of what made this difficult was that little disagreements she might have had with her dad, that could have happened at a dinner table, ended up happening in a courtroom or ended up happening on a TV camera.
My heart was in the right place. I was just growing up, I was very thankful for what they've done and what, they have continued to always do. But I think I really just wanted my freedom.
LeAnn's quest for freedom eventually broadened to her relationship with Curb Records. Now 18, she filed yet another lawsuit to annul the recording contract, which had been enacted when she was only 12 years old.
When an artist signs and they're under the age of 18, the court has to give an approval, and the artist has to appear before the judge and say, I understand that I'm underage. It's called a court affirmation. I think she was seeking to overturn that.
If LeAnn could overturn the affirmation, the contract her parents had signed on her behalf with Curb Records would be effectively invalid. As it stood, she was required to record a number of gospel, pop, and country albums for many years to come.
LeAnn signed her recording contract when she was 12. By the time she was 18, she was a music industry expert. She knew what she had gotten herself into, and she didn't like it.
I had actually already talked to her manager about readjusting her contract, because at that point, doing that extra album each year for gospel didn't make any sense because she was out on the West Coast at Playboy parties and everything. We couldn't have put a gospel album out at that point if we had wanted to.
The months of legal wrangling came to a dramatic climax in a Nashville courtroom on March 16, 2001, when a judge denied LeAnn's request to end her contract with Curb Records. Upon hearing the ruling, LeAnn railed at her father.
The reason I said that was because the judge had told me during that meeting that he had met me when I was 11, and then I had told him that I knew what I was signing. And during that time period, I know for a fact that I was with Rod Essig at his house. So basically, what happened was, people in that courtroom lied. And it was, so I was stuck in a place where I didn't want to be. And my dad knew it. Everyone in that courtroom knew it. So that's why I turned around and said, I hate you. I don't think there were any other words that could have come out of my mouth at that time. It's because it's like, hello, somebody please stand up and tell the truth here for like 5 seconds. And the only one that knew was him. So, damn right I was mad.
Eventually, LeAnn and her father called a truce and settled their differences over money and mismanagement. She also renegotiated a more favorable contract with Curb Records and tried to move her career forward, this time as an adult on her own terms.
We made a new contract with her lawyer, you know, under the terms that she wanted. And actually, believe it or not, I enjoyed it, that part of it. I enjoyed watching LeAnn negotiate, and at one point after the meeting, she said, you know, a lot of the things I said today, you taught me.
Taking charge of her life also included LeAnn's unexpected marriage to dancer Dean Chermay, whom she'd met only months before. And if that wasn't proof enough, her controversial pose on the cover of Blender magazine shortly after signaled an official end to her childhood. In every aspect of her life, LeAnn desperately tried to convince the world that she was no longer the child star they'd first come to love.
I think it was just like, hey, I'm an adult, I'm a woman. Here I am, you know, I'm grown up, you know. It's like I was fighting for people to see me as an adult. I still fight for people to see me as an adult. Finally, I think I'm getting there.
I think that LeAnn would push the limits. When she had her body where she wants it, I think she'll always push the limits.
There were times where I thought maybe LeAnn, I would talk to her, LeAnn, I don't know if I would do this or that, and she's like, just trust me, I know what I'm doing.
And that was just kind of the beginning of trying to make that statement of, I am a woman. But, you know, that was just the beginning of pretty much a long, long battle.
Coming up on Backstory.
Oh no, I didn't think. I know I didn't do it the right way.